What's up, Legion? It's stevezapf here. It is I Still Call It a Lariat. Rejoining me, my long-lost brother, Mr. Showtime, Michael Wright. How you doing today, Mike?
Oh, you know me. I'm living the dream, Steven. It's been like just a week. Sorry.
That's too long.
My alter ego. Sorry, Legionnaires. My alter ego has gotten very busy with whatever the garbage he does. Really important stuff. It's great stuff. Don't anyone that knows me there. Don't. I just kidding. I've been kind of pulled away, really busy a couple weeks. But I think it's easing up a little bit. I know every time I say that, it gets much busier. So we'll see kind of how that turns out now.
Well, we are glad to have you back. We have some stuff to go over, obviously, for the World O Wrestling, but let's get into our nonprofits quick. As always, Tap Cancer Out, a series of jiu-jitsu tournaments that helps out with Alex's Lemonade Stand, American Brain Tumor Association, Isabel Santos Foundation, Little Pink Houses of Hope, Camp Sunshine, the Christopher's Haven, the Sidney Kimmel Comprehensive Cancer Center at Johns Hopkins, CureCervicalCancer.org, First Descents, and Tom Coughlin's J Fund. And, of course, our other nonprofit that we are supporting is the American Red Cross and their hurricane relief system. Please go help out with these funds or with these nonprofit organizations. The American Red Cross and all of its help with these hurricanes between Milton and Helene have really just left a lot of this southeast area of America just decimated. Not just because I do live in Florida, but North Carolina, Georgia, a lot of those areas. There's a lot of little areas like Asheville, North Carolina, where things like dams that aren't supposed to break broke. So, and by the way, folks, I know we said this with Hound. Helping out isn't always just in finances. If you don't help out with this, but you know of the different organizations who send coats and jackets that you don't use to these areas because it is getting to be jacket season in those areas where it's cold and they have nothing, do that as well. Help out however you can. At the end of the day, paying it forward never hurts anybody realistically. But outside of that, big news for our show. I Still Call It a Lariat is coming out with merchandise soon. That's right, folks. We're going to have hats. We're going to have t-shirts. We might even get Saucy and do a bumper sticker. I don't know. We're probably
not on my car.
We're not doing a bumper sticker. I'm not going to lie, guys. If anything, we might do a custom magnet, but I see us sticking more to the hats and t-shirts. We might get as Saucy as a hoodie even.
I am dying for the flat brim snapback.
It's coming. It's coming. Straight
See how old this hat looks right now?
That's how old the Larry hat's gonna look eventually.
Eventually.
Oh, Showtime! You said you wanted to take over. Let's give you your time, sir.
Yeah, I wish I had some background music, like some somber background music right now. But
I think I got something. Maybe.
You can.
Nope.
That's not. No. Let's move on. That is the opposite of what I was looking for. Thanks for ruining everything, Steven.
We just ruined it. Thanks, Steve.
Thanks, Steve. So I want to just take a moment and recognize our fearless leader here. Give him his roses, as they say, because I had missed the last recap where we told our predictions, and after 6 months of predictions, after all of the hard work of getting beat time and time again, Steven has finally been able to bridge the gap and go from 12 matches down to 11 matches down. And after all this time of us doing our prediction show, he finally won a pay-per-view. And I didn't miss that. Like I had mentioned, everybody, I didn't miss that because I was hiding from Steven when I actually lost. I didn't want people to think that on Wrestle Dream I was I wasn't there. I really was busy and I couldn't make it. I was supposed to be there, but literally fell asleep and didn't make the record for it. So I just want to make sure everyone knows I'm man enough to say when Steve finally won one after all of this time, that he should get his rose. I guess. Well, you still owe me like 12 roses, but you get
true.
one back at this point in time. You should feel good about yourself, Steven. Maybe give yourself a little pat on the back.
No.
How does it feel? Does it feel good? Shouldn't feel that good, but does it feel good?
You know what would have felt better? I think I know why I got so mad about the end of Wrestle Dream. Is because if our picks had gone like they should have gone, if Bryan Danielson wasn't crippled, I would have actually batted 1,000 on that show.
I wish I was a little bit more tapped in because I think we would have tied if I was because I had forgotten that they were in the Pacific Northwest, which is Swerve Country.
Swerve Country.
And Hangman getting beat in Swerve Country after all he did was obvious choice. Like this is what there's a lot of times when I have the wrong pick here. And I will say I wasn't wrong. They were. That was me not having the information I needed at the moment in time because that was the right thing to do. And I just missed that memo. So Steven, congratulations. You still suck at this game, but no, it's not that you don't suck less. It's just you got lucky once. So good job.
Yes.
Well done.
I'll take it.
Well done.
Also, Legion, don't forget, we will be reviewing TNA Bound for Glory. We are not doing picks for it. We are just reviewing it. I think it's going to be a hell of a show. We will have that out sometime over the course of the week of, October 27th. Sometime after that.
Once we get past the next bit of news, because that was big news. Like, everyone is astounded. No one expected that to happen. So I just want to make sure that I hit the wrestling news spot first. But then after we get through the news, let's and we get into TNA, let's talk a little bit about Slammiversary. Some of the card Bound for Glory. Some of the matches you should be getting up for because it'd be fun. Not picks or anything like that. We won't go through the whole card, but there's some cool stuff happening.
There definitely are some cool stuff happening. Kind of the biggest wrestling news coming out of the world is Samantha Irvin exiting WWE. Apparently, this has been months in the making. She said she was not going to renew her contract. She is being replaced by Lillian Garcia, the returning Lillian Garcia. Impossible.
You cannot replace Samantha Irvin.
I don't think you can. Here's the thing. Whether she goes to AEW, she doesn't go to AEW, whatever it is, she says she wants to focus on her music career.
Amazing flautist.
Yes. I do not. I am not going to bash Samantha Irvin in any way, shape, or form. She has
not at all.
Very single-handedly just killed ring announcing over at least the last year. She has been a highlight. And it's nice to see that we still have that. And again, if this was all because that Irish wrestler, Rick O'Shea, is no longer there, it is what it is. She has her reasons for leaving. It sounds like, and knowing the way that WWE is, it's not one of those things where they don't start talking to you about your contract 2 or 3 months in advance. They start talking to you about your contract almost at least a year in advance, usually, to start planting the seeds. So they were probably already talking this whole time, and they just knew and they just never announced it. And again, this is another one where in this new TKO Triple H Paul Levesque era, if you will, we never heard anything about we wish you your best in your future endeavors. It might be because she wasn't actually released, but a lot of this stuff is a lot of these people who have left you. No more future endeavoring.
It's not that they wish them bad luck. They're just indifferent. They no longer exist. You're dead to me.
now that Vince is no longer there, they use a lot of terms they didn't used to use. One of which is professional wrestler. The other one is they call it a title belt again. The one that they started using recently, which this is a biggie, they started calling it a hospital. For 40 years, it was a medical facility.
Interesting.
Which otherwise known as hospital.
Hospital? What's that? It's a big white building. Patients.
Not like you take your time to do things, like actual patients. So let's get into TNA though. This week in TNA, as per usual, I think TNA had the match of the week. We will get into that though.
Match of the week.
Woohoo! But first, let's get into some of the matches for Bound for Glory, like we said we would.
Do you want to start with Bound for Glory, or do you want to start with the card?
Which one do you
weird,
want to
Steven?
go?
I'll get weird with you if you want to get weird.
Let's get weird. Let's talk about the card for Bound for Glory real quick. So we have two. First off, we have two Hall of Fame inductions for the TNA Hall of Fame. First off, being Bob Ryder, who is involved behind the scenes with a lot of the stuff, and then the other one is Rhino.
Gore!
This is big. A lot of people don't realize Rhino through TNA won the NWA World Heavyweight title. It's been that long, but that's kind of Rhino did a lot of really cool stuff in TNA, and I know he's been back and forth to WWE and things like that, but he had a hell of a gauntlet of matches with AJ Styles when AJ was going heel and stuff like that for a little while. And I honestly, some of his time working with Rhino, I think really brought out the character that AJ Styles has.
So Rhino has to be, and correct me if I'm wrong, he has to be like the most successful ECW homegrown guy. In my after what he's done there and after he comes out, if you look back, because there's other people who were most successful in ECW, but like Shane Douglas wasn't a homegrown guy. Bam Bam Bigelow, but like coming in, even like people like the Sandman didn't really do much outside of ECW.
You could
but Rhino really kind of made a big impact.
Taz, but I
maybe. Yeah, I don't know.
It's like here. It depends on how you're looking for the level of success.
Because Taz didn't see a tremendous amount of success outside of
like commentary.
ECW. I'm talking in ring is what I'm talking about.
Actual in ring, then yeah, it's probably Rhino.
Which is a shame because Taz got a bad beat, and I think that WWE did him dirty, and I think that is a whole different conversation because he should have been way more successful there.
Maybe Steve Corino, but I think Rhino's still more over than Corino was.
Was Corino NWA World Champion?
Corino was NWA World Champion.
Was he? Okay.
Yeah. King of Old School. He had to win the NWA World title.
Fair.
And he was ECW World Champion for 30 seconds. I'm trying to think of anyone else that would have been. Maybe Jerry Lynn. Maybe Rob Van Dam.
Okay, I'll give you Rob Van Dam.
RVD is if we're going down to it, RVD is probably the only guy that's more successful than Rhino. That's homegrown. That's ECW homegrown talent.
Sorry, and I know it wasn't the point, but I thought it was an interesting topic.
No, it's definitely an interesting topic, and like I like that we were able to get that out.
I just didn't think about because I was thinking about Rhino because he's understated, particularly his WWE career was very understated. He was there. He came up with that TLC spear spot on like how that went down because he's a maniac. And he's a maniac. and he was great and like his ECW run was kind of legendary. He kind of carried that company by himself for a little while. And
well, there was a point he was the ECW World and Television Champion.
Yeah, when everyone was leaving, he was still there, like fighting the good fight and doing a great job. Like not just like he was left over, like he was stepping up to the challenge. And then obviously he had a great TNA run, which is why they're inducting him into the Hall of Fame here. But this is cool. This is Steve educated me that this was coming a little bit earlier when I'm like, why is he here? Wrestling PCO. It's because they're setting him up for the
they
Hall
need
of
to keep
Fame.
him around for this stuff.
Yeah, but this is great. He completely deserves it.
So we get, let's see, part of the count. Oh, this is all part of the countdown. Okay, so we're gonna get Ash and Heather by Elegance, who was Heather Reckless, versus Zaya Brookside and Brindley Reese from Brindley Reese is from NXT. Again, that's just a countdown match. The Call Your Shot Gauntlet, which is pretty much the Money in the Bank. What do they call it in AEW? The Casino Gauntlet.
The Casino Gauntlet, yeah.
I
thought you were going to say the deposit in the
yes, the deposit in the financial institution. Yeah. We get Spitfire defending the Knockouts Tag Team title against Rosemary and Wendy Chu. This is Rosemary saying that she's going to start taking that tag team division a lot more seriously. So
wait, can we go back for a second from the Call Your Shot Gauntlet?
Yes. To back to the Call Your Shot Gauntlet?
Yeah. I'm surprised this is on the pre-show, first of all. But so we're going to review, we're a little bit late for this episode. We're recording on a Friday. We normally do this on Tuesdays. Like I said, sorry, Legion. I'll do better. I promise. But we kind of know some things that happened this week that we'll report on next week. But essentially Frankie Kazarian is coming in first for this. AJ Francis is coming in last for this. And we all know AJ Francis is going to win this.
AJ Francis is totally winning this.
No way. But we're going to talk about the main event, which Frankie Kazarian happens to be there. If he wins this, does he cash in right then and there? He's the referee for the main event of Nick Nemeth.
So
versus
he cashes in to himself.
Yeah, to himself. It's fucking brilliant. Sorry for the words. I love it. I love TNA. It is brilliant. I love TNA. This is so good.
I love TNA. Honestly, I know we say we champion it all the time. This is without a doubt the best wrestling show in the world, right? Like
if he cashes in as the referee and counts his own pin, I will never pop so hard.
I know you won't. And
I will never pop.
And we both do love Frankie Kazarian.
Oh, 100%. And like the three of the people in the main event for this, not to jump to the end, I'm sorry, but this all just kind of hit me like a waterfall, and now I can't help myself. But we are champions of Joe Hendry. We were on the Joe Hendry bandwagon before the bandwagon really took off. It was the very beginning of it. Because we took notice when he started doing
jumped on
his music
bandwagon as soon as he left WWE.
As soon as he started coming up, we were championing him. And then Frankie Kazarian, we go way back with Frankie. I'm sure he doesn't remember. I know he doesn't remember me. He might remember you a little bit.
We have championed Frankie Kazarian for 20 years.
Yeah. And so
back when he still just looked like Antonio Banderas from Desperado.
And so
let's play.
So these are three of the people that we are kind of not the biggest. I don't call us the biggest fans of, but like we are excited for these three wrestlers. I just don't want to mark out too hard here. But this main event has the potential to be one of the best main events of the year. Like if they do the right creative decisions, I know that Nick Nemeth and Joe Hendry. Let's be honest, I think Nick Nemeth is a far superior wrestler to Joe Hendry. I'm not trying to take anything away from him. I think he is developing really strongly from when he first started taking off to now. If you look at those matches, he has gotten substantially better. And I'm really excited for the future of Joe Hendry and what all of this means. Frankie Kazarian is a stud in the ring. And so I think this match could be way better than anyone really expects it to be. And if they do the right creative decisions throughout it, I'm gonna die after this match. It's gonna blow my mind all over the place.
I'm very excited about this main event. We've been excited about this main event, and we kind of called this main event 3 months ago.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Well, we really called this
said Joe
when
Hendry was going to go after, was going to get the world title shot at Bound for Glory. We said this when he was number 7 on iTunes.
We said that we really doubled down on this when he lost, when Alexander double crossed him in that match, because like we were all stunned that he lost that. I remember we kind of made picks like off the cuff, and we're so wrong. Like
we were so wrong.
Which I love that. Like thanks for not being predictable. This is one of the, I know that like I'm talking about this like it's very easy to predict this, but it all just kind of like folded together for me here. Like I would never have thought of this if I wasn't doing this show, and I would have been completely blown away while watching this, being like, "Oh, he won it! Oh, he's cashing it! He counted his own pin!" Brilliant! It's brilliant.
So, I think this will be a mind blowing match. Just everything about it. It's going to be amazing.
It's so cool.
Another match I'm really excited for on this card: Jordan Grace versus Masha Slamovich.
Mm-hmm.
You and I have kind of fallen into this world of just every time there's a women's match on here, I think this is actually going to be better than the other women's matches that we have championed, because Jordan Grace is amazing.
I don't know. The bar is set high. I'm not saying that it won't be that, but that's a high bar.
I don't know if this is going to be Rhea and Becky.
That is right now. I think that might be my match of the year.
That's the bar. But every other women's match that we've watched for AEW, all the Toni Storm matches, all that stuff.
I do love the Toni Storm matches. There's some good ones in there.
I think this will be as good, if not better, than any of those matches. This has potential to steal the show. This women's match has potential to steal the show.
Not if they do the main event like I just scripted. I hope you guys are listening. But you're right. It has potential.
So, we also get a 3-way tag team Full Metal Mayhem match, which is essentially just TLC.
Yeah, cool.
Matt even basically called it a TLC match, and they cut him off in the middle of it. He was like, "Yeah, in this
copyright, bro."
He's like, "No. He goes, "I'm sorry, Full Metal Mayhem." I kind of hope ABC takes this one, takes this back for the rubber, but I feel like this is going to be the Hardys getting one last little bit of something in before they leave TNA. But I think this is kind of what I said last week. The Hardys they're obviously not what they once were, but they're still just good enough to make all of these other guys still look good.
Yes.
So I think this match will still be something good, something fun to watch. We get the fight. We get 2 fight matches in this, and I kind of like that. Not just no whole bars matches, but we get fights.
I'm not overly excited about the Full Metal Mayhem. That's just not my type of match. Sorry, folks. I know that a lot of people love that, and you do you. Don't let me, let me rain on your parade. I will say, I think we glossed over, or I don't even know if we mentioned what could be the real match of the night, which is Josh Alexander versus Steve Macklin. Like
that's what I was just about to talk about.
Yeah, I think that's going to kick off the night, and I think this is going to tear down the house to start. We're going to start off hot.
So that's the thing is that's gonna turn into a bit of a fight too, and that's why I was calling it a fight. It's gonna be a fight. It's gonna be a fight,
but there's gonna be a lot of wrestling in this match.
There definitely is. I love Alexander's new attitude. It gives this nice little wrinkle to what he's been doing lately. The other thing I like about Josh Alexander is his new stable name, the Northern Armory. Love it. I don't know why. I love. It's all 3 guys from Canada. Northern Armory. Yes, because you're all walking weapons. Good job, buddy. The other fight, Moose versus Mike Santana. That's going to be a fight. That's going to be a knockdown, drag out match. And It's not a no DQ match. So here's the thing. They're going to have a fight within the rules of a wrestling match. And I think we're going to see what that's really supposed to look like. We talked about the Knockouts Tag Team match. We get PCO and Matt Cardona in a Monsters Ball match for the Digital Media Championship and the International Wrestling Championship, which I don't even know why they're still using that belt, but they are. And
I mean, who doesn't love all the belts?
I mean, we know Tony Khan does. We got, and the X Division Championship, we have Speedball Mike Bailey versus El Hijo del Vikingo, who is kind of like the hottest guy in AAA right now. This is going to be a crazy match. This is going to be a flippy match. But that's kind of the card right now. And like I said, I think you're right. I think the world title match should be the match that is what we talk about, but we might be talking about Josh Alexander, Steve Macklin by the end of this.
Man, this is weird. A 7-8 card match? 8-match card?
And it's probably only going to go like 3.5 hours.
It's almost like they have the perfect formula right here. More than 5, less than 11 billion. It's cool. I like their style here.
Yeah. Let's keep it like this. All right. So anyway, guys, that was Bound for Glory. That's the card for Bound for Glory. Now we're going to talk about this week in TNA. The show opened this week with Rhino versus PCO. Overall, kind of a slow-moving hardcore match. Both guys, I hate to say it like this, they are both true heavyweights, but they're also both in the twilight of their career.
Old. The word is old.
I didn't want to say it. I'm trying to be a nicer person lately.
Not in TNA. You can be a little bit mean. We're too nice to TNA sometimes.
That's true. It's also just not our usual taste in match. It was a hardcore match. It's just not our thing. But it was just a slow moving hardcore match.
Hey, fans, you be you. Don't let us tell you how to like your wrestling.
Here's the thing. I said this to Hound the other day too. The thought that we don't appreciate ultra-violent matches is actually the furthest thing from the truth. We actually love ultra-violent matches when they make sense.
Mm-hmm. When it's done right.
When it's done right. When it doesn't need to be every week. I don't need ultra-violence every week.
We were big fans of McIntyre and Punk, Hell in the Cell, and it had a level. It didn't go to the nth degree of ultra-violence by any means, but like that was done tastefully and it was done well. There was other things that we can go back to and say that we liked those things when they were done well. I love a good blood
feud. I always go back to the I Quit match with Tully and Magnum. Like, I know it's a classic, but like that's ultra violence. He almost stabbed his eye out with a stake.
There's like we're not squeamish around blood. I mean, when we did the WrestleMania review, the Hart Stone Cold match was on the top of our list. And so the I Quit matches and those like objects, big fans of. Like sometimes these promotions go shock value. And I think that's where we get it. Like, don't do this for the shock value. Do it because it makes sense in the world that we've created here. It takes us out of it. Anything that takes me out of brings me back to reality, because I'm certainly not watching this for reality. Anything that takes me back to reality, and I'm like, oh yeah, well this is not real. That's what kills me. Even like when someone gets up after getting tombstone pile drived on steel steps. No, you dead, man. Like that's not. Yeah, like, let's move on. I'll get one of those lilies and I'll put it over your chest. You're good.
Now, and here's the thing: I don't dislike PCO or Rhino. This wasn't the pace of match we usually like. This wasn't. It just wasn't our normal taste in match. But all around, it wasn't terrible. It wasn't. No one got hurt at the end of this. Let's put it that way.
That's all that matters.
And it didn't seem like it didn't look silly at the end of the day. So it didn't seem silly, and no one got hurt. It just wasn't what I would have liked. Second match we get on the card is Brindley Reese versus Ash by Elegance. Right, that's right. Yes, Brindley Reese. I always forget her name because she's actually not on on NXT that often. This match got a little bit too silly for me, and I know we say that, like kind of how you just said, we're a little bit too nice to TNA. It was just there's been so much going on with women's wrestling that's been so good that sometimes something like this, it kind of drags it back a little bit. I think part of the issue is Ash by Elegance is very good, but I still think she's not necessarily good enough to lead a match, especially with someone who's not very experienced, which Brindley is not very experienced. But this does further the storyline with Ash by Elegance and Xia Brookside. So at least they had storyline movement in this. It wasn't the best match in the world, but they did something storyline wise with it. And then we get to what I think we would have to consider the match of the week. And that is Leon Slater versus Mike Bailey for the X Division title. There's a lot of things I like about this match. One is before the match, they show what they call the X Factors. So, like, different things that they have advantages of, how things work out, why it's the X Division, making it feel like it's a real sport and a real fight. I'm in for that. They're both supposed to be baby faces, so they walked in, they had a handshake in the beginning. They did a lot of really nice wrestling to start this off. Slater's a little bit bigger, so he showed a little bit of power. I still say this. I think Leon Slater is one of those guys, especially being 20 years old, if maybe he got a little bit of someone produced him a little bit, he'd be really, really good. He's already really good, but he'd be really good. Like world champion good, possibly in a different promotion, world champion good even. He might be able to do it in WWE. And he's got that English accent, which comes off in just the right way too. Will Ospreay has proven it, bruv.
Come on, bruv.
There were certain things I didn't like. One of the things so Mike Bailey took over as kind of the heel of the match. He definitely had a much more vicious side to him during this match. My critique of his, I guess, heel work would be he went back to working the arm, and I'm all for working a body part, especially if you're supposed to be the less baby face of the two guys. But he kept doing the same move. And I have an issue with that. He just kept putting him in a hammerlock. And you and I have both worked arms before. My finisher at one point was basically a Rings of Saturn, which is works your shoulders.
The Arctic Circle.
The Arctic Circle, if you will. Eventually what was known as the SZF. And there's so many things you can do to yank an arm down or hit a single arm DDT or, drape it over the ropes and pull it down. Like, you don't have to keep doing the same thing. So it got a little repetitive in that sense, which is the only reason why I was questioning whether I was going to make it match of the week. But realistically, there was no other matches that were even getting this good. The crowd really got into Leon Slater, though, during this. I have written here the hammerlock. The constantly working the hammerlock is a little lazy, but all around, this was a really great match, and this led to them announcing Mike Bailey versus El Hijo Vikingo, who is again the biggest thing in AAA wrestling right now. I mean that as a character, not as a person, because he's kind of tiny. We get a Steve Macklin. Steve Macklin speaking about Josh Alexander. They have a bit of a face-off. I love everything Steve Macklin does. Me and him go way back, but I do love his character. I love that when you look into his eyes and you look at his face, it comes off very realistic. I believe what he's saying. That Marine in him comes out. The guy that's done 2 tours of Afghanistan comes out when he talks. And it makes you feel like, even when he's saying stuff that is babyface, he has that sound of a guy who's kind of seen some shit. And I like that about him. And again, you said it yourself, when his matches are not silly or dumb or anything like that, he puts on great matches. I agree with you. I think him and Josh Alexander are going to put on a great match.
I'm assuming their match at Bound for Glory is going to make it really hard to follow. like I know that you're supposed to start them. You want to start the match hot. Like if you're not last, you want to be first in the situation. But I feel bad for anyone that has to follow this up, because that's based on the card I looked at. It looks like they're starting the show, which this match really looks good in that situation. It really seems like a match you'd want to kick the show off. There's no title. It's going to be fast paced. They're going to fight. Crowd's going to get into it and get hot from his. At the same time, like, it's going to be tough to follow.
The only match I could see that might go on before that is maybe the X Division title match.
I could see that. This is just like this has not blood feud starting, but this is a real feud. This is two guys that are going to just smash each other for a while.
They're going to hurt each other. And like, they're going to do it within, again, the rules of professional wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
The rules. I know we talk about that a lot.
The rules. I love a good rule. You set rules, and then you find all the loopholes. You don't cheat. You follow the rules, but you figure out how to exploit them to your own benefit.
And then you get Santino Morello to come out and say, I saw that.
I saw that, John Cena.
John Cena. The Hard Boys. I love that he called them the Hard Boys, by the way. So we get what is supposed to be Brian Myers versus Mike Santana. I said this to you before the show. I will continue to say this. The fact that Brian Myers is known as the most professional wrestler, it'll pop me every time.
It's prestigious. He is the most professional wrestler.
And it's him and Cardona are the Major Brothers, and they have the Major Brothers or the Major Figures podcast.
Yeah,
it's awesome. This was never actually a match. Never happened. This seemed like it was a way for Santana to take out the rest of the system before his match with Moose. My only issue with that is that the rest of the system pretty much all have matches during Bound for Glory already, except for like JDC, Johnny Dango Curtis, which I could have seen this match being him and Curtis instead, and him taking out Curtis, because the other two guys, Myers and Eddie Edwards, are going to be in that TLC match. I'm sorry.
Not TLC.
Full Metal Mayhem.
It's TLC. Copyright. Careful. It's going to copyright you.
We get a face-off between Jordan Grace and Masha Slamovich. This face-off is a little confusing to me. It seems like they couldn't tell, like, the way they were talking to each other a little bit was, I couldn't tell if there was animosity or respect, or like they loved or hated each other. So I don't know if that's what they were going for, and if it was, kudos, because you got me, because I didn't know which way you were going with it. It was a little confusing in that aspect, but I'm still really excited about this match. This match is going to be, these are two strong women. I said this last week when unfortunately Showtime was pulled away on business.
I don't have any business. That was my alter ego.
I'm sorry. His alter ego was pulled away on business. Slamovich and Jordan Grace do the power moves correctly that we sometimes hope that Willow Nightingale and Nia Jax.
Yeah. That's the thing. Like, when you be a powerhouse and do the moves that make you look like a powerhouse, and even if you can't do them, just avoid them. Like, don't do that move. Yeah, pull it out of your repertoire. Nia, don't ever do a Hurricane Rana ever again, by the way. That's not a power move.
But don't do it anyway.
I know that we joke a lot. I don't think she listened to us.
No. I do think Tony Khan listens to us.
They all do. Not
TK. Listen, TK. Remember, call me. Main event, we get Nick Nemeth versus Matt Cardona. This is the other side of what I am assuming is a pick your poison match. So I think Rhino versus PCO in their hardcore match was supposed to be pick your poison, leading into with Cardona and PCO. We get Frankie Kazarian on commentary. Cardona does a really cool heel spot in this, and Showtime, you, I'm sure, loved it. It was a thumb to the eye on the apron, and when he thumbed them they were both standing on the apron. He thumbed them in the eye and immediately pushed them off into the steps, and it was just vicious looking. But I was like, this is a really simple, vicious move.
You gotta love a good waterfall move. It's like bang bang. Like don't do it. And I love a good sell afterwards where you constantly just rub in the eye.
Well, and that was the thing. And this was so simple. It was so simple, and it got over. I watched it. I was like, oh, that looks. Ow! Don't do that. End of the match, you end up getting PCO kind of carting Cardona off, and Kazarian jumps Nick Nemeth and Joe Hendry. Or Hendry makes the save, and as Kazarian's rolling out, he announces the big surprise. He's going to be the special guest referee.
It's fantastic, and I wonder how they could make that better. Oh yeah, we reviewed Bound for Glory first.
We already talked about that.
We already talked about that.
So that was TNA this week. Again, TNA, if you're not watching it, I don't know why you're not watching it.
It's great. It's once a week. It's pretty digestible. Like they usually have. I get that the production quality is a little low at times, but they have real wrestling. They have some pretty decent storylines. They have good talent.
Most of the shows are a grand total of like 90 minutes, realistically. Yeah. Like when you cut out the real commercials, and if you do the TNA Plus app, instead of seeing picture in picture, you actually just get to see the wrestling with the commentary.
It's crazy.
I know you have not been on the AEW shows as much with us lately. My biggest pet peeve in the world, aside from Tony Schiavone, has become AEW during their picture-in-picture advertising what's coming up in the show. So, like, while there's a commercial on and you can't actually see what they're talking about, they start advertising what is going to be going on through the rest of the show.
They put over the picture-in-picture more advertising.
Yeah, I was like, this is not the time to be advertising the rest of your show, guys. For those of you, Showtime's alter ego knows all about this lifestyle.
Shh, don't talk about him. He's a jerk.
Can be.
The what's called? It drives me crazy that we have to do commercial breaks during matches. And trust me, I know more about commercials than probably anybody listening to this one. And you are able to be fluid with commercial breaks in live sports, and there's no reason why this doesn't work the same way. And being in a main event, in a title match, being in certain areas where you have to go to 2 commercial breaks, or you come back to a match after it starts because you were in commercial break, is Bush League, and it runs rampant across everybody. It's a money grubbing thing, and I get it. Wrestling's all about making some money, and I want them to make money, but make the fan experience good too. This is egregious. It's annoying. And it really takes away from the product.
Main events or like big time gimmick matches, it should not ever happen.
Sure, you want to throw away, like you want to go and cut away from a throwaway match, whatever. Like
that's what I'm saying.
I don't care. Like
they what is it? They did it this past week during AEW had a ladder match, and I was like, you shouldn't do it during a ladder match. Like, you should see the whole match.
Main events should be untouchable. It ends your show, like, regardless. It doesn't make sense. Like, you go to 2 commercial breaks for it, and you know what? And they promote the match is great because in that last 4 minutes of the match, after you come back from the second commercial break, it's usually really hot and it's great. But Bush League,
absolute Bush League. And let's talk about the brand or the company that kind of started this trend realistically. And that's the WWE. And we're going to go to Friday Night SmackDown. The show opens with the new bloodline, and main event Jey Uso comes out to confront Solo.
I
This
forget
was
these guys are brothers sometimes.
yeah, and this was first of all, I know we say this all the time, and I'm never gonna stop saying this. Jacob Fatu is special.
Yes,
He just looks special. Everything about him. But when Jay interrupts, first of all, man, is Jey Uso over. I don't know. I still don't even get how he's this over. But
Yeet.
he is. Yeet. I like the line Jay hits Solo with, though, about the Ulafalo. And he says, that necklace, that title, it has to be earned. It can't be taken. It can't be stolen. So I love that he hits him with that line, and the whole segment feels very personal, especially at one point. Jay brings up that they were never going to bring. There's a reason why they weren't going to bring Jacob in, and he says, "Why'd you go and get Jacob? Like, there was a reason why we never went and got him." And then he looks at him and he goes, "And if you keep staring at me like that, I'm going to knock your ass out." And it felt real. Like, that felt like, hey, I'm your older cousin, and I'm about to beat you. And I was like, oh, okay. It got real, just serious in there. And I was like, okay. I know for the most part, WWE does a little bit more storytelling than anything else, but this story's getting good. We go from there into a triple threat qualifier between the Street Profits, DIY, and Pretty Deadly. The match was okay.
It was better than I expected.
It was okay. My thing is, it seemed like everyone was misstepping a little bit. And this seems to be a trend that I've been seeing a little bit. It just seems like everybody is a step off a little bit here and there. And I don't know if they're just trying to call it a little bit more out there and they're not used to it or what it is. But this just, it felt like it. I like the end of this match. And not just that DIY won it, the fact that DIY pulled off the fact that they pinned the legal man. Because Profits and DIY both had a pin going. And the guy that DIY was pinning from Pretty Deadly was the guy that was legal. And I was like, oh, that's a nice. I like what you did there. That's, again, let's follow the rules. You set some rules. They're baby faces. They followed the rules.
I don't understand any of these teams anymore.
No.
Like, I don't get Pretty Deadly. I don't know why they're a thing. I don't know why this is their gimmick. I don't get any of it. It's not over.
It's not. Over.
It's not over in a heel way. It's not. I just don't get it. I don't know what their purpose is here. The Street Profits, since Bobby Lashley has left, I don't get them. I don't know what they're doing.
They've just been floundering. They're just there.
And since DIY is no longer DX, I don't understand what they are. They're a good tag team. I like them. I enjoy watching them wrestle. I don't know what's happening here. Like, what are we doing?
DIY, I think they either need to go so far in the direction of kind of being heels that you forget that they were baby faces for a little while, or they need to play up the fact that they're baby faces so much that they're the Rockers, they're the Rock and Roll Express, they're that type of babyface tag team. They're consistently the underneath babyface tag team that has to fight back against some of these major heel teams and win. But the problem is they're not telling that story, even if that's what they should be doing.
I love a good tournament, but this is not a good tournament.
So the sad part is this isn't even the tournament. This is
No,
just
this is
they
a
were just doing
qualifier to get in to the tournament. Like this
to a number one contender match. They have an actual tournament going on Raw at least.
I just don't. I don't know why there's no story here at all. Like, and you can have a story. Like there's a story to be had here. Let's get some feuds. These guys they're just teams floating around. For the company that does stories well, like this show, like SmackDown has been really lacking, in my opinion, particularly for having the main champion and having the bloodline.
It just feels a little vanilla at times.
I just don't. Yeah, it's just going through the motions.
Even the next thing, you get Candice LeRae taking over. So apparently Tiffany was sick this week. That was what she said on the phone. Sick of dealing with Nia.
Zing.
Gotcha. Don't do Hurricane Ranas. Listen to the show. So Candice LeRae, who is the first ever WWE Women's Speed Champion and the current Speed Champion, so she teams up with Nia as champion later on against who is it? Against Bayley and Naomi. We immediately go into, again, I like that they're at least trying to do something with the women's tag team division at this point. Because even this, Lash Legend versus Piper Niven, is them trying to promote Lash Legend and Jakara into the tag title picture with Bianca and Jade. My issue with this is Jakara and Lash Legend are diet Bianca and Jade. You literally are putting them in there. You're putting them in there with the less good versions of themselves. And Lash Legend looks amazing. But she kind of looks like Jade. And she's not, and neither one of them are really as powerful. Kind of how you said, they're not as powerful as they're really being portrayed, and a lot of their stuff is just overcompensation. And Lash won the match. Piper looked better during the match than Lash did. I like Piper Niven.
I think they completely waste Piper and Chelsea Green. Chelsea Green.
I think Piper and Chelsea should be the tag team champions. I can get behind that. Or one of them should be one of the women's champions.
Chelsea
should be the women's champion, with Piper being the actual bodyguard.
Yep. The reason why she wins every time. Build to that feud. I like that feud better than I like Tiffany versus Nia.
Because Tiffany's becoming a babyface.
Yeah, I get that, and no shade at Tiffany.
No,
and none towards Nia either. I just think that the women's division have gotten very one dimensional.
It absolutely has.
It's not as bad in SmackDown as it is in Raw, but it's the same thing. They're doing the same thing in both shows. Literally, the women's division on Raw is 2 people and a bodyguard. Like, what are we doing?
I do not know.
We need Becky back. We need Becky and Charlotte back. And now we have a big division, and then you have to focus more on them because the other ones can't fade out. But even like we get into it later with Bayley and Naomi, they just seem to be just there. And they've been doing Bayley dirty since WrestleMania, probably even before that.
So we go right from that. We get a Cody in-ring promo. He pretty much is just talking about Crown Jewel. He says he's not going to talk about the Kevin Owens situation, which is weird. We want you to talk about it.
Because that's what the fans want.
That's what the fans want.
Because that's the more exciting storyline than the big green belt.
Yeah. We get a pissed off Kevin Owens doing a very indie promo. Like, it looks like he did it with his phone.
Yep.
I do like the promo that KO cut during this, though. This is once again, this is that Drew McIntyre thing. Like, hey, I'm not the bad guy here. I'm not doing anything wrong. So-and-so betrayed me. So-and-so did this. Maybe Owens is just being a little bit more frustrated than even McIntyre was. But I kind of buy I kind of buy the Kevin Owens thing again. Maybe while Cody's over there, shaking babies and kissing hands, he's really he's Aaron Rodgering this up. He's getting Mark Saleh fired. Robert Saleh fired.
I really enjoy what is happening here with Kevin Owens. Like, he's using social media as a tool like no one else is, and like they really are identifying the way this stuff should work, and I dig it. So
I was gonna say the last guy that was using it like this was, or for WWE at least, was McIntyre.
Yeah, McIntyre was doing a really good job with it. I feel like maybe that's their plan. Like they do know the power of this, and obviously it's less organic. I like how he's like, they don't want me to come to work. If they don't show this promo, I'm going to post it here anyway. I was actually kind of hoping that they wouldn't show it, and they'd be like, I'm not showing this. So there's a lot of really good things going on that front. And so that's what I like. I like to kind of see those, the use of social media to expand the story. I like the way they started this rather than having this after it goes off air and filming it, like letting the fans film the Kevin Owens, Cody Rhodes conflicts and stuff like that. I think it's really well done, and it really expands the reality of this in a way that I dig.
So I like it because it's a new take on an old concept too. Because if you think about it, when we were youngsters, and you had a situation where you had to find a reason why there was a camera where so-and-so got beat up where a camera probably shouldn't have been. Oh, we managed to find this security footage at this garage that he just happened to be at or whatever. And that was where he got jumped. Well, you don't need that excuse anymore because there's a camera in everyone's hands 24 hours a day.
Literally everywhere. Like it's everywhere. In a pocket.
Here it is. Here's my camera right here. It's everywhere. And that's just what's in your hand. And you can use that power. And they are. And they're doing it perfectly. They are making the fans do their job for them.
It's funny. That's why I look back on my own wrestling career, and there's very little proof that it actually happened. But if it happened today, I'd have countless videos.
So it's one of the things when we had Big AJ on here, and I actually agree with them. If social media was a thing back in the day, Phoenix Championship Wrestling probably would have skyrocketed.
It would have been. I don't know if it would have skyrocketed, but it had the talent that ended up turning into the talent of today.
Yeah,
like it had Frankie, it had Christopher Daniels, it had AJ Styles, it had Malice,
and it had
Julio,
yeah,
had Alexis Lurie, or Mickey James. That's what we call her nowadays. I still can't get away from Alexis Lurie.
She likes to slap the mat.
Slap the mat. Like it had Mercury and Matthews. Yeah, that like it had the talent that became the talent.
Well, and one thing that they did, at least in the beginning,
wrestled there, right?
Candido wrestled there, yeah. One of the things that Phoenix had at the time too was it had cool looking buildings. Yeah, and that helps a lot with that shot. Like, hey, it's a little different looking. Moving on though, we get moving back to SmackDown a little bit. We get another triple threat qualifier match. This is A-Town Down Under versus Los Garza, formerly Los Lotharios, and the debuting Motor City Machine Guns, which this was cool. I wish they hadn't announced that the Motor City Machine Guns were debuting though. I get why they did too, just, hey, we need to pull some of these people who know who they are into this, but at the same time, I think it would have been cooler, especially when Los Garza were like, "Hey, we deserve something." Like, well, be careful what you wish for. And they put him in there with A-Town Down Under, who's been kind of getting made to look like a little bit of a joke anyway. And then the Motor City Machine Guns comes out, which is one of the best tag teams in the world for the last, I don't know, 10 years at this point.
100 years.
Yeah, because they're
They
not
they invented tag team wrestling back in the day in the carnivals.
they have been around for a minute. They schooled the Young Bucks when the Bucks were still young.
Oh my God, that was even before the carnivals.
Whew. It was during the Crusades. The Machine Guns win this, which is no big surprise here. I am happy that we're gonna get DIY versus the Motor City Machine Guns. I think that's gonna be an awesome match.
Agreed.
The problem is it also kind of feels like you're just setting up one of these two teams to get smacked down by the Tongans.
Yeah, I don't know about that. So what I could see happening here, I think Motor City Machine Guns, that's a mouthful. They'll be the ones that end up coming on top. They're debuting. This is why you sign them. Like
I think they win.
That's going over math. Let's just be real. I could see them winning the tag team titles because the Usos cost them it. Because you just had the Bloodline cost Jimmy his first ever singles title. You're trying to figure out ways to get Jimmy and Jay and Roman back in the same team for Survivor Series. The perfect way to do it is have them cost them the tag team match, and then you have the Usos versus the Tongans in a tag match. Like it writes itself.
It does. It's not what I wanted originally, but it's where we knew it was going.
I'm just saying, like I'm not even trying to be creative here. It's just, it writes itself.
We get a women's tag team match with Bayley and Naomi versus Nia Jax and Candice LeRae, and in a shocking one, Candice LeRae gets a pin over Bayley. Yeah. Here's the thing: this is just another shot fired at Bayley at this point, right? Like
I don't get it.
Like this is just they're just doing less and less with her now.
And like jobbing her out a little bit, like it's fine. And I get it. If you really want to push Candice, I actually think that they completely waste Candice and Indy Hartwell. Like I don't know what they are. Like they could be something. like
could be.
And they were focusing on Candice a little bit with her heel turn, and like I don't know if I'd say I dug that, but at least they were trying something, and then they just kind of fade.
But again, you Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell, and you have Piper Niven and Chelsea Green, and they're just over there. They're just over there. They're Mr. Turner and Boy Meets World. They went over there off screen.
Hanging out with Minkus. I get it.
They're hanging out with Minkus. Oh man. We end the show with we get Roman Reigns having a face off with Solo. And I really, really like that Roman kind of loses it a little bit during this promo, during the segment. I like that he's trying to do what's best for the family. He's going to acknowledge him if that's what it is. And then when he like Solo keeps kind of poking the bear, you see angry Roman come out. I do think I think they need Heyman. I do think they need Heyman at this point because they are very much portraying Roman as much as he is calculated to a point, and he's a great warrior per se. He's still kind of a blunt object. You need the wise man. There's a reason why the wise man was there, because Roman isn't conniving enough to go after these other guys the right way.
Which might just be the way that they set this up for the reason for his return. Heyman has to be kind of terrified right now in kayfabe, and no one handles in character storylines better than Heyman. So I'm with you. But overall, I don't know. This is a meh. SmackDown for me. Sure, they pushed a little bit of storylines. They squashed a couple storylines that did make sense too with the Kevin Owens one. I don't know. This one doesn't. I don't get up for this card. It's fine. It was fine. Everything's fine.
Meh. We're all fine. But that was SmackDown. Let's move on to the A show, if you will, Monday Night Raw. Showtime. This is the first time you and I are getting to review a 2-hour Raw.
I love it.
Thank God.
And this Raw was better than SmackDown. I'll give it that.
This Raw was actually pretty good. I like that it's pretty action packed actually. You get immediately to open the show, Seth Rollins attacking Bronson Reed just kind of out of nowhere, just in the back, which makes a lot more sense than, hey, we're just standing in the hallway and we hate each other. We get a Seth Rollins promo calling him out. I like this version of Seth. I like this a little bit more serious Seth. He can dress flamboyant, but at the end of the day, like, the fake Joker just doesn't do it for me all the time.
I want to know what they're doing with Bronson here. Are they building him up to be a guy, or is he just here? Because that's what I want to see here. Because I feel like in normal WWE storyline, this is what's going to happen. We build up Bronson. He's a monster. He's tsunamiing everybody. He took Seth Rollins out. And it's all just to put Seth Rollins over. And we're going to keep the main group of guys at the top, and there's not really much room for it. They don't really have any monsters going right now. And Bronson, I don't take Bronson Reed seriously yet. But at this, if they keep putting this forward and Bronson Reed wins legitimately, now he's over. And now we have a real monster in the mix that you kind of take somebody seriously. Until they do that, I don't know how invested I can be in the story.
I think if Bronson Reed goes over in this, and again, he doesn't need to go over at the very end of all this, but if you really, really do 2 or 3 matches with him and Seth Rollins, where even if he doesn't get the win per se, he beats the crap out of Seth Rollins the whole time, I think that sets him up to be something.
This should be building him up to be a legitimate world champion caliber guy. Like threat, yeah. Like he doesn't have to actually win the title, but like having him go up against Gunther and have a chance to win. Because they did this story. I've already seen the storyline. It just happened to be with Chad and Sammy. And he was the third in that line.
I think Bronson Reed is getting set up for it. I think they're realizing, because they're giving him more screen time too. They're giving him more chances to talk. Just everything. This also they fought all throughout the show. They fought through the entire show. They kept going, finding each other again until they finally kicked each other out. Until Adam Pearce kicked them out and told them they got the match that they wanted. We get an all-female backstage segment, and this was between Damage Control and Liv and Raquel. And it seems like this is very much still just setting up more contenders for the women's tag team titles, which I don't know if it's necessarily storylines, but at least it seems like they're getting more matches out.
This women's tag team division is a mess. There's no storyline. Honestly, it's all tag team divisions right now. Whatever.
The very first time we get to see the returning Lillian Garcia is during the first match of the night, which is the New Day versus the Authors of Pain in the tag team tournament. I like that R-Truth came out and helped the New Day. I don't like that the New Day didn't go back and help R-Truth when everyone else was destroying him.
Yeah, that's cold-blooded, guys. Come on, you guys are good. Though the New Day is all over the place right now.
They're all over.
They are all over the place, and I can't complain that they're not trying to do a storyline with these guys. But man, are they hitting a bunch of dead ends and coming back and dead ends and coming back?
I feel like they just keep hitting poor stuff. Although this sets up what will apparently be the Final Testament versus the Wyatt Six.
They're here,
and I'm for it. I also like there's a digital a digital promo that Karrion Kross cut during this, because at the end of this, Uncle Howdy does the mandible claw to Paul Ellering.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, it's an easy way to write Paul Ellering off of TV because you don't need him there anyway. Secondly, I love this because it's Karrion Kross losing his mind about it. Like, you want to come after me, that's fine. You want to come after us, that's fine. You went after Paul Ellering, an absolute legend in this business, who has ties to you and your family for like 40 years. And you went and did this. Don't worry. We're coming back for you. We're not going to hide. So this could turn into the Crusades. This is an all-out religious war.
You know, I'm with you. I love the potential of this. I think they completely
hope this builds the Final Testament into something that it should actually be.
I think they cannot figure out how to get the Final Testament over. I think they've really dragged on the Wyatt Six too much and not have any real impact. I hope that they're like, all right, this is how we get both of these guys on track, and like we kind of end them almost equals, probably with Wyatt Six slightly over the Final Testament, but then the Final Testament can move on to be formidable. Like, that's what I want to see, like, the two of them elevating, because they didn't do that with American Made. No. Because now we'll get into that in a minute. And so, like, I don't know what, because, like, the Wyatt Six didn't really get over by getting over the American Made. Like, not in my opinion. Like, they're just there. No, sure, they're monsters or whatever
they were over off of the strength of Bray.
Yeah, and they haven't done anything since. And they don't know what to do with them. They're just there.
No, you know why they're going to be the stronger team against Final Testament? You know why. You know who's coming in. R-Truth.
Yes. The newest member. Or I can't wait till he has. I'm assuming he's going to come out in an R-Truth mask.
Yes.
You know how everyone has their own, like, animal masks or whatever?
No, he's going to come out in a K-Quick mask.
K-Quick mask. A Ron Killings match.
A Ron Killings.
Like, that's what I want to see him come in. I love when he interjects himself, and like I could see, like, so like I'm in two camps here. The first camp is the humor of R-Truth really worked with the Judgment Day because they were all so serious. Like with the Wyatt Six, it could go real campy real quick, and that's not what we necessarily want here. But like I could see him being terrified this whole time, being like, all right, I'm with you guys, like we're friends, yay.
Everything's okay.
As the Miz joins the Final Testament, for some reason that's kind of seemingly what's happening here as he's dressed in black.
So it also seems like he doesn't want to be a part of it, and now they're forcing him to be part of it. They're
I think that's what it is.
The Miz. It's whatever. I feel like that's another muddy storyline at this point.
I would have much rather the Miz be like, Truth, I can't do it anymore, man. You keep messing this stuff up. I love you, but I think we got to split up for a little while. I think I need a break.
And the best line that Truth could say is just the most simple one. Yes, you can.
Sure you can.
Sure you can.
Are you trying? And then let them go separate ways.
You can do it.
Because like you could have done, like, I just don't like, they're just force fitting this into this because they are over. I don't know. I just whatever. Again, just muddy waters.
Right. We get a Raquel Rodriguez vignette where she finally voices some of her issues with Rhea Ripley. I do hope that she stays healthy and maybe gets back to form. I think a lot of what my issue with Raquel Rodriguez right now is I want to believe it's ring rust, and she just hasn't been healthy. So a lot of the stuff that made her good before, she hasn't been able to do because she's been worried about like actual like inner health rather than like getting in the gym and working out and being this strong dominant force that she used to be.
Remember when she was a super baby face and then came back as a heel with no explanation?
Yeah, it was like a month ago.
Yeah, that just happened.
That just happened.
Like I don't understand. I understand that Liv has some history with them, but I just don't. I don't know where that interjects, and like I know that they got you got some context here, kind of, but man.
So
I feel real downer this week. Sorry, guys. Like I do like this stuff too, but like it just like what are we doing?
So
let's go back to TNA. I was really happy at TNA.
Yeah, right. So during so you get Damage Control versus Liv and Raquel next, and the way I explain best way I can explain Raquel Rodriguez is if you have any anime fans out there, and you've been watching like Dragon Ball Super, Frieza becomes Golden Frieza and just goes after Goku, and he loses because he doesn't know how to control his power. I feel like this is the same case with Raquel Rodriguez. Like she got healthy and just came back to wrestling. Like didn't spend any time at the performance center, didn't like do any road work, didn't do any of the things that you normally do when you come back off injury or illness or pregnancy or whatever it is that are keeping them out. And it just seems like she didn't do any of those things and she just came back. And I don't know if that was their decision or hers or what the hell is going on with this, but whatever it is, it's not working. The best aspect of this match is Liv Morgan selling. I love Liv Morgan selling. I think she sells moves amazingly. Like she looks like she's getting walloped. End of this match, we finally get Rhea finally gets her hands on Dom a little bit, and again the tease of that, and then we get the LWO consisting of Dragon Lee and Rey Mysterio versus American Made. I have a question for you, Showtime.
Let's go away, sir.
So the LWO have a tag team that's in their stable.
That's correct.
But that tag team is not the one that's competing in the tag team tournament.
That is correct. I don't understand.
Okay, I just want to make sure I wasn't taking crazy pills.
What don't you get here? I don't get it.
Crazy pills.
And Mysterio and Lee are going to go over on American Made
on the real tag team.
What are we doing? Like,
why did we put Chad Gable and these guys together if we're just going to have them lose? We had
the Job Squad with Alpha Academy. Just leave them there. Just turn them heel. Let them do that because at least we get those guys going and let the Creed brothers do their thing.
They were already losing all the damn time.
Like the Creeds have a lot of potential. What are they doing losing this match? This makes no sense whatsoever.
They should have had American Made versus the War Raiders as the finals.
Yeah. And you know what? The War Raiders going over on American Made. I'll buy that.
War Raiders winning over American Made after American Made's won 2 matches before that.
Yeah.
I'm for it. I'm for. This.
What are we doing?
I don't even want to talk about this match anymore. Let's get on to the IC title match.
Move on.
I can't believe I'm doing this. I'm going to critique Braun Breaker a scotch on the downside. I would like him to do a few less Steinerisms. He is riding a little bit of Rick and Scott a little bit too much with the things they do.
Well, he is 50% Rick.
He is. Here's the thing. Here's one thing I would like him to do more though. He's one of those guys that I would also like to see use a Lariat as a finisher because I'm tired of everyone using a spear. Too many people are using spears these days.
Yeah.
And Braun Breaker is one of those guys that if instead of doing the super spear, he did the super Lariat, I think he would kill everybody.
what I've noticed in a lot of these
It
shows
would be the breaker line.
And
instead of the Steiner line.
I can't remember what it was for the last AEW pay-per-view, but every one of these shows that I've seen recently, there seems to be a move of the night.
It's usually a cutter.
So in TNA, they like to use the cutter. I can't remember what it was in Wrestle Dream, but there was one, and there was actually two of them that kind of came up multiple matches in a row. And was the DVD, I think it was the DVD, was used in like 4 matches in a row. And I don't remember the last time I had seen one done like in more than one match in a while. And then all of a sudden everyone was doing one. I think that's kind of, the spear is like that. The super kick has become that. Like everyone just does them. And it doesn't make any sense. Like there's other moves out there, guys. Be creative. If you want, I got a list of moves I would love to see. Let's get some.
Actually,
some
this is
going.
one of those times you can sit at the learning tree of Chris Jericho. He's got 1,004 moves.
He also has the ROH title. How do you like that? Congratulations, Chris. Keep up the good work and teaching everybody.
I'll say this: it was a good match.
God, keep up the good work.
The match at Wrestle Dream was a good match as well, though.
Sure.
You get the Bloodline showing up during this, and they come out and they prove my theory that they were going to be the reason why Jay lost the IC title.
Yeah, sorry, I spoiled that earlier. Didn't mean to.
Yeah, but I said this was going to happen last week too. I thought that this was going to happen. We do get the first interaction between Jacob Fatu and Braun Breaker.
I want it. Now I'm back to excited, Michael.
Yeah.
I want this.
I have not seen anyone post anything but excitement over the idea of this. And I love how
it gets me all tingly in the right spots.
I'm just saying, there's not a lot of times I try to pat myself on the back for this, but I called that one 4 months ago.
Nah, I don't think there's proof of it.
It's here. We record it every week. Sometimes like 3 times a week.
I recorded my voice. Like it's there. I just have to go back and listen.
I was there when I said it. I would have preferred the end of this though. Braun Breaker not seeing Jacob's interference.
Mm-hmm.
I get that they.
I see it. I see.
I would even him being heel. I would have preferred. I think he stays more of a monster if he doesn't see what's happening and he just lines them up.
And he thinks he won.
Yeah. All around though, Braun Breaker's the new IC champ. I'm not totally mad about it. This just sets up what has already been getting set up. And that's been the week in wrestling, guys. At least with TNA and Raw. As I said, we will be reviewing TNA Bound for Glory. That'll be out next week, along with our Crown Jewel preview episode where the 3 of us need to make our picks. It's fine. It'll only be 6 matches.
Yeah, 5 matches. Steven will get them all wrong.
Although, wait, was the last Saudi show 6 matches? I think they usually go a little bit more for the Saudi shows.
What was the last Saudi show?
It was King and Queen of the Ring.
It sure was. Which was
that's why it's not
going 6.
6. Was there
no 5? Else? It was 5. It was Becky Liv. It was Sammy Chad Bronson. Yeah. It was Lyra versus Nia. It was Gunther versus Randy Orton. And Cody versus Logan Paul.
Yes.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 matches.
5. All right, but that's been the week. Legion, as always, thank you for being a little patient with us. Again, coming out of those hurricanes, we are still kind of resetting ourselves as far as I'm concerned. And Showtime's alter ego has been being a jerk.
How selfish.
Man,
that guy.
Showtime, good to have you back. And
thank you.
As always, Legion, thank you.
I wasn't really gone that long. I was kind of on the show like a week and a half ago. It wasn't long. I haven't been gone for months.
God. It just feels that way.
I talk to you every other day.
It just feels that way.
Thank you, Legion. Remember, like and subscribe. Do the things. Share with us. Let us know your opinions.
Information in the descriptions.
the more you guys do this, we have some videos that are really starting to pop off. We have some that are over 200 views, some that are over 100 views. It's really excited. We're really excited to see all the support. We can't tell you how much we appreciate you, and how much we want to see this grow and kind of bring this stuff to you. And the more you interact with us, the more people will see it, and the more we can cultivate this stuff to what you really want to hear. And that's what's really important for us.
Also, Legion, thank you again for those of you that are liking and subscribing on YouTube. We officially got over 100 subscribers on YouTube. I know that doesn't seem like a huge amount, but for us it is. We've only
Gotta start
recently
somewhere.
we've only recently been attacking YouTube the way we have been. So,
Mhm.
folks, thank you so much. Again, we are getting more and more snackable content out there for you as well. That's why we're trying to do kind of even shorter episodes. That's why everything's a little split up the way it is now. We don't want to keep giving you 3-hour episodes because we don't want to do 3-hour episodes either.
Talking to this guy for 3 hours, it's a thing.
Though
Though I miss Hound. Thank you, Legionnaire. Come back to us next time. We will see you for the Bound for Glory
Review.
recap. I think that'll be the next show. Thank you all. We'll see you soon. And Steven,
remember, tuck your chin when you bump.